Tonight, only on 13, Anne Marie's exclusive on-camera conversation with Scot Pollard. Anne's in studio with us tonight with that.
Yes, he's a former Pacer. He lives here in the Carmel area. He is sick right now. He's short of breath. He's tired. He's running out of time. He's on a heart transplant list. And he told me that waiting is the hardest part.
I'm 6'11" and 300, so I'm a big man.
To find a match, Scot Pollard will need an uncommonly large donor heart. The former NBA star turns 49 in February. Doctors say his failing heart doesn't have many birthdays left.
He's obviously extremely sick. He's amongst the sickest on hearts because he's on a transplant list.
Doctors say a virus acquired 3 years ago, coupled with genetics, accelerated Scott's decline.
Good catch.
Still got hands.
He's now one of 66 adults waiting for a heart in Indiana.
It's particularly tough for me to think about that because my dad died on the transplant list because of his size.
His dad, Pearl Ison Pollard, died at 54. 6'9" and 380, he played D1 basketball. Scott was 16, and his worst fear is repeating family history.
But I have a 16-year-old, and my dad I was 16. I have a 7-year-old. Sorry, hold on.
Scott knows losing a parent too soon can be too much.
I was angry the entire time because my dad never got to see me succeed, and that drove me.
Scott played college ball for the Jayhawks, was drafted 19th in the NBA, and spent 11 years in the league with the Pistons, the Kings, Pacers, Cavaliers, and the Celtics.
I liked playing for all of them. It was better than working for a living.
An athlete, yes, but a true showman, too. Pollard performed in splashy mohawks and a Fu Manchu, too. His celebrity status and big personality even landed him a spot on Survivor in Cambodia. Fans adoringly called him Samurai Scott, and worse.
You can get a lot of stones thrown at you, especially when you're a public figure. You're an NBA player, fans are mean. And when you're on Survivor, fans are meaner. Social media is a beast.
But the platforms are also a place where you can break your own news. And that's what Scott recently did when he posted on X. "I'm home now, waiting for a donor." The post led to an outpouring of support nationwide.
He's got a lot of people that love him and want to see him heal and get better. And I mean, we all want that.
Nationwide, 3,365 adults are waiting for a heart right now. They're organized at status levels 1 to 7. 1, the most critically ill. Scott is now a status 4.
A lot of stars have to align, but we are confident that we or another institution will be able to help him get to his ultimate goal, which would be a heart transplant.
Scott is the father of 4 children, 3 with his first wife and 1 with Dawn. And what is he hoping they see in him now?
Not this.
They know.
And I didn't want to cry today, Ann. What do I want them to see? Not this.
Yeah.
I'm not me. This is awful. It's embarrassing. It's emasculating. I don't have much of a purpose right now. I just sit around.
Waiting.
Phone call might come today, it might not come at all. And I can't do anything about that. And that's why I'm terrified right now. I can't prep for this.
Scott cared for Dawn when she beat breast cancer 5 years ago.
This girl had a double mastectomy because of cancer. So we've done the sickness and health.
And now she's by his side doing the same. They're working to get him on transplant lists in Tennessee and Illinois as well. It's a tedious process, and he's ready to play.
Making sure I'm doing things the right way, not leaving my family too soon. Doing everything I can to be around for them longer.
This is a good time to remind you that you can be an organ donor in just 2 minutes. We have a link where you can do that right now at WTHR.com.
Tonight, a 13 News exclusive. Just 6 days ago, Scot Pollard had heart transplant surgery at Vanderbilt Medical Center. And tonight, he's sharing an update with Anne Marie.
This is a great update to share with you all tonight. You know, Scot Pollard played for 5 NBA teams, including the Indiana Pacers. And thousands of fans have been following along on his medical journey. And tonight, he told me he is grateful for the win.
I still feel better than I felt when I came in here. And that's the crazy part, is I'm still very fresh. I'm still healing. There's a long road ahead of me.
Less than a week ago, Scot Pollard had a heart transplant. It was placed through an incision in his chest.
And I have big hands, but it's about 5 inches, maybe a little longer. You would think it'd be down to my belly button because they have to open up so much to get the heart out and get the new one in, but that's it.
He's 6'11" and 300 pounds. It was a great size for professional basketball, but certainly complicated the search for a donor match.
My field of donors is big. Had to be a huge person with a big heart. And they've given me that gift. Sorry. They've given me the gift of a life. And that's something I can never repay. It's still a lot to process the emotional part of it.
Pollard hopes someday to make contact with the donor's family.
That's all we know is a big man with a big heart, and all we can assume is that his life, we know, is not going to go in vain.
Pollard's wife, Dawn, has steadily provided medical updates on social media, including, remarkably, his first steps just 24 hours after surgery.
I'm continuing that. I've walked twice a day, every day since.
Thousands have reached out with well wishes.
It's been humbling.
And terrifying.
I couldn't possibly have made that heart get better. And it was closer than I think everybody realized.
This was so tough on his family, and he's still got a long journey ahead, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He's got multiple kids up here in Carmel, Indiana, so the logistics, a 5-hour drive, is pretty tough. Yeah. Right now, the family has rented an apartment in Tennessee, and they're going to stay there for follow-up appointments for months until doctors gives them the all clear and says he can head back home to Carmel, Indiana.
What a great update.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing it, Ann.
All right. Well, what a difference 1 year makes, and our live guest today certainly is proof of that. Join me in welcoming former NBA player Scot Pollard, who lives here in Central Indiana, former Pacer, many other organizations that you played with. Thanks for being here. 1 year ago today, you were in the hospital with a heart transplant. What a journey.
Yeah, yesterday to be exact, but
yes.
Who's counting, right?
Yes, well, you are. So it was February 16th. It was kind of touch and go leading up to that, and then I know there was, the recovery afterwards had some ups and downs. How are you feeling?
I am so great now in comparison. I'm never going to be normal again. I traded one chronic condition for another. So I'm never going to have just that lifestyle where I'm not thinking about, oh, can I eat that? Oh, where are my drugs? Because I have to take those every 12 hours. Little things like that, which I was an athlete, so discipline isn't that hard for me to just remember things like that and make sure that I'm taking care of my body and doing the right things. So I can do all that and stay within the framework, and I still listen to my body. There's days where I can't leave the house. But it's okay because most of the time I can. And before the transplant, I couldn't leave the house very much. Certainly couldn't have talked this long without catching my breath and keeping the same thought in my head. I was really in a brain fog there for years because of the heart failure. And the reason I knew is when they pulled the tube out after transplant, they pulled the tube out. I sang a dumb song and my wife was like, he's back.
Oh boy. and you're back. And this whole life, it's like a new life, a new chance, a second life is all possible because of your donor. I understand that you've been able to learn a little bit about Casey. Tell me about him, his circumstance, and how do you express the gratitude for that?
You can't. Obviously, it's my life. I can't repay him. But he was, they think he might have been a donor. We've been in touch with his family, but they just knew when they were contacted about it, they knew there was no way to save him. He had been in the hospital, in and out of the hospital. There he is right there, my hero. And his family made the decision for him, his wife and his sister. They have now a 13-year-old son named William, and we're actually flying down to meet them next month in person. We were trying to go in January and it just didn't work out because I had to get down to Nashville for a test and I didn't want to get sick just in case right before flying is there's a lot of germs out there. So it's tough for me to fly and be safe. And I've got my 1-year appointments coming up next week, so we're driving to that. And but yeah, we're going to try to make it down there in March and meet the family and just give them our gratitude. We've been in touch. We've called them on his birthday. It would have been his 46th birthday in November. His wife is grieving, obviously, his son. They're all grieving, but they love the updates that I'm doing well.
Right.
Because his heart is keeping me alive, and so therefore there's a little bit of Casey alive. A lot of Casey is alive and still going, and so the best thing I can do is give back and help other people with what I've got left.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I know one of the big things that was making it difficult for you to find a match is that you're 6'11", 300 pounds, and so you needed a big guy. So thank you, Casey. You got this Pearls of Life t-shirt on. It's one way that you're giving back. Tell us about what Pearls of Life is and how we can get involved.
So my wife and a friend of ours named Dave Sider, he's a local attorney. Don't hold that against him. They created this charity to educate people about organ donation, tell this story about how I'm here because of that. I am just a voluntary spokesman. All my appearances from before and now are very different. I'm not getting any money. Everything I ask people to just donate to the charity. The Pacers just did. There was a company in San Diego that just donated a bunch of money for me to go out there and speak on a panel. So they created Pearls of Life so that we could help other people sign up. It's shockingly low numbers everywhere in the country and different demographics. And when you look at it, it's like, why not? Why would you not? And be a hero. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. And if it's going to happen early, tragedy does happen in life. Accidents happen, things happen, and so why not be a hero to many people?
This time a year ago, former Pacers player Scot Pollard was recovering from a heart transplant, and now he has new reasons to celebrate. He just came back from meeting with Casey Angel's family. Angel is his donor. And also, over the weekend, at the inaugural Pearls of Life fundraiser, they raised more than $70,000. The money is to support organ donation education and affected families.
Scot Pollard will be the 2025 AES 500 Festival Parade Grand Marshal.
Now, during the program, the 500 Festival CEO Bob Bryant surprised Pollard, telling him the good news. He's been selected to be the Grand Marshal of the 500 Festival Parade come May. It was a surprise for Pollard. Now, the 500 Festival Parade is Saturday, May 24th. If you want to go, tickets are on sale now. We have a link where you can do that at WTHR.com. And you can also watch that parade here on Channel 13. Now, Pollard, his wife, and one of his doctors spoke at that event over the weekend, and here's some of what they had to say.
I'm one of the heart failure and transplant cardiologists at Ascension St. Vincent, and Scott had asked me to talk about a serious topic, both heart failure and transplantation, so I'm going to take a few minutes to do that. So heart failure, what a terrible name for a disease, huh? But it describes the condition perfectly. It's a condition where the heart is unable to meet the demands to allow blood to get to the body of what it needs. And there are really two big causes. One, like in Scott's case, where the heart is too weak to pump the blood effectively, or a second, where the heart is so stiff that it doesn't relax effectively. And people that are afflicted with this condition can have a multitude of symptoms, but most commonly shortness of breath, fatigue, or swelling. And this is a huge problem. 6 million adults in the US are afflicted with this condition. And the lifetime risk of anybody obtaining this is 1 out of 4, so it's not uncommon. When people hear the word cancer, they run and hide. It's a cause for a phone call to a family member or a spouse or a loved one. But the mortality of heart failure is actually higher. 5-year mortality rate of 50%. Failure. Not only does it describe the disease well, it also describes the natural course. So let's talk about Scott. As you'd imagine, professional athletes' healths are monitored all the time. And throughout his playing career, he had no issues with his heart pumping function. But in March of 2021, he was first diagnosed with symptomatic heart failure with a moderately reduced pumping function. Compounding that, he had extra beats from the bottom of his heart, which were called PVCs. despite medications and procedures called ablations, Scott's disease progressed to the point where he was having symptomatic limitation even at rest. And I remember in September of 2023 when I told him, Dawn wasn't there, but I called her after, that I think that we're at the point where we need to consider either heart transplantation or LVAD therapy. What made Scott's case a little bit different than the classic cases I normally take care of is that in addition to his weak pumping heart, he had the extra heartbeats and abnormal rhythms. And I didn't feel that a left ventricular assist device would control all of his symptoms. So we had opted for transplantation. And although Scott was lucky enough to be transplanted in 10 days, we need to recognize that is not the norm. If we go back just a few years, our former vice president, Dick Cheney, was transplanted. But what some people don't know is he actually was not given a heart first. He was given a left ventricular assist device. And then following that, it took 20 months to get transplanted, which was more than the average at that time. Now, Scott, I love you. The people in this room love you, and you're a local hero, but you are not as famous as Dick Cheney.
I'm just so happy that you all are here and you've all jumped in on this, and this is something new, and we hope that it goes far and wide and that we can educate and just bring more awareness to the importance of being an organ donor to help people like my husband live on and be a dad, be a husband, and annoy us all every day. I'm just joking. You can annoy me for the rest of our lives, baby. My closing statement is becoming an organ donor is one of the most meaningful gifts you can ever give. It's about hope, second chances, and saving lives. If you haven't already, I encourage you to learn more about it. Make the decision, and also talk to your family, talk to your loved ones. Let them choose. If it be that you aren't an organ donor, let your family know that, these are your wishes. Casey Angel was not an organ donor. His family decided on his last days to donate his organs. He helped 5 families. Casey Angel helped 2 teenage boys get new kidneys. He donated his corneas, and then he donated his heart to Scott and his tissue as well. So it's important to let your people know what your wishes are. My people know my wishes. You have the power to make a difference. We all do. Be somebody's hero. Thank you so much for your support and for being here for us for this inaugural event. We're so excited. Before I leave, I do have something special to announce, that when Scott announced that he was in heart failure and that he needed a heart transplant, ESPN reached out to me and they said, we want to know more. Tell us more. Can we please follow your story? And I said yes. Scott said yes. We wanted our story, his story, to be known to everybody. The more people that know, the better. And so they asked, and they have been a part of our lives for the last year. They followed Scott through the beginning of being admitted to the ICU at Vanderbilt all the way until his heart was removed. And they've been following us for the last year, and we have a little sneak preview of a documentary that they've created. It's an E60 special, and it's coming out on Father's Day this year, and it's called Heart of Pearl. So we have a little sneak preview for you all to see that no one else has seen. So enjoy.
Well, I was attempting not to cry, and for that I apologize, and if I lose it a little bit, it's Ozzy's fault. That clip gets me every time that kid says that. You know, when you're at an event like this and you're gonna speak and you're wondering what you're gonna talk about when you go on stage, we've all been there. As I listen to Dave, and as I listen to Dr. Chowdhury, and I listen to my wife, who literally looked me in the eye about a minute before she was supposed to come up here and speak, and she said, "I'm not doing it." And then she comes up here and busts that out. Ridiculous human being. So I'm sitting there going, well, what do I talk about? And the answer became really evident to me. It's family. I'm going to start with the family I grew up in. Pearl, as we've seen, 6'9", giant of a man. Marlene, his wife, 6'2", giant of a woman. Imagine being that tall in 1955. My mom was the tallest person in her school until my dad moved there, including everybody. Not just the principal, I mean everybody. My oldest brother is the shortest of the boys. He's only 6'9". Then 7'3", then my sister 6'2", then 7 feet and 7 feet. That's why I'm 6'11", because when I rounded up, my brothers used to beat the shit out of me. That's the family I came from. Then there's the family that I made. As Dave mentioned, I've been married twice. Got to keep with the NBA. I had to have more than one baby mama. It's just kind of tradition. It's what we do. But my 4 children are about as different as they could be. And nothing gives me more pleasure than that. I didn't want to raise robots. I didn't want kids that conform to everything. I got that. Lolly, my oldest. Tallulah, my second. Ozzy, you saw, and then little Ison, named after Pearl. That was his middle name, Pearl Ison Pollard, Jr. And his middle name is Robert, after Don's father, who passed away. So neither one of us have met the other's father. And we know that they are getting along right now wherever they are. And that we would have gotten along if they were here. That's for sure. And they would have gotten along with each other. So that's the family I created. But I talked about my children. I didn't talk about my wife. That woman right there is the reason I'm here. I'm not exaggerating in any bit when I say that she saved my life. She said it, she never left my side. And when she got cancer in 2019 and had a double mastectomy, I was the caregiver in what feels like about 5 seconds at this point in our lives. Because that started it, and we thought, you know what, this will be the horrible health issue that we have for our family, and we'll get through this, we'll lean into each other, and we'll ride each other through this, and we'll get better, and everything will be fine. And then my dumb ass got a virus that attacked my heart. And my caregiver experience was, like I said, it felt like a flash of a moment. Taking care of her and trying to be the rock when I'm far from it in our family. She's the rock. She's the one that makes our family go. And I'm just the one hanging on for dear life, hoping she doesn't crack wise and leave me. Casey is my angel. We talked with his sister, Megan, a lot. She's done interviews a lot because of all the attention that this has gotten. His wife, Pamela, has not done as many interviews. She's a little more shy, but she was great when we met in person. She's just a wonderful human being. And they have a son that just turned 13, William. And we got to meet William. And we talked with that family and Megan's husband, Clint. That's my new family. We're forever connected. We're not gonna ever not keep in touch with these people that decided on his deathbed to give me an extended life. They just said it was what he would have done. It was 100%. We thought maybe he was a donor, but we don't know. But we made that decision because there was no hesitation. We knew that that was what he would have done. And so they made that decision that happened to be at the right time that saved me. Now, a little bit of what Dr. Chowdhury said about doesn't matter if you're rich or famous or whatever. I was in Cambodia filming Survivor, so I didn't know the story. I didn't hear about it while I was gone, because you don't hear about anything. And when I got home, the story had passed, so I didn't know until years later. Anthony Mason, the guy I played against in the NBA, notorious, just tough guy. One of the strongest, toughest dudes you ever play against. He was on a heart transplant list. He died on the heart transplant list. So it just drove home to me how much more special and lucky I was that somebody was able to donate to me at the time that I needed it most. That's my new family, the Angel family. Then we have my medical family. These are the people that have used technology, that have taken risks, used procedures, used a horrible bunch of drugs, but they've extended my life from that aspect. Garish is here, Sonny is here. Dr. Upadhyay did my ablations in the University of Chicago. Sean Pinney was my cardiologist in Chicago. At Vanderbilt, Dr. Shaw ended up being my surgeon. Last year, Vanderbilt did 174 heart transplants. I was number 16 on February 16th. That's why everybody recommended I go to Vanderbilt. And I have to mention Dr. Anako, because he's one of the cardiologists at Vanderbilt, and we've become friends. I tend to do that with people. And he always wants me to correct everybody when they misquote him in the ICU. When he looked at me, not the ICU, I'm sorry, when he interrupted a treadmill test I was supposed to be taking for day 2 of testing in Vanderbilt. And he said to me, "Scott, you look like shit. I'm keeping you." It's been misquoted many times, so Dr. Menachem always appreciates it when I tell the truth. As Dawn mentioned, February 6th was the worst day of my life. I've never given up anything in my life, ever. I never ever was like, you know what, this is kind of hard. These sprints are getting me down, or I'm sore, or I'm injured. I'm not going to do the rehab. I've always come back. Every single facet of my life, personally, professionally, I've never quit. February 6th, I woke up and I quit. I said, I don't want to go. That was supposed to be day 2 of testing at Vanderbilt. And I said, I don't want to go. I don't want to get out of bed. And that woman that saved my life, she said, "Get your ass up, I'll get you a wheelchair." And she did. The quote goes something like, "I don't know how you did it." And the response is, "I wasn't given a choice." She didn't give me a choice. Now, that was my medical family. Now I have a Pearls of Life family. Dave, Dawn started this. We got Wendy, Jody, Amy, and Matt and Laura Mays that produced this. That's my new family. That's my new Pearls of Life family. And to say I'm appreciative of all of these families is an understatement. I wouldn't be here without all of them. We wouldn't be here without all of them. This is a night for everybody to celebrate life. Stop crying. I promise I will. And please enjoy the rest of the evening, because I'm coming to my final family now, and that's all of you who have made this night possible and made the word family mean even more than it always has for me and my family. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being part of this inaugural event. There's going to be more, and I'm going to keep telling you stories, and I'm going to keep asking you to open your wallets. But I love you all very much, and I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.